two finalists, same titles, same companies, same revenue numbers. I told the CEO to hire the one with the worst resume. He thought I was crazy. 14 months later, revenue had tripled. After 25 years and more than 400 executive placements, I have learned that the resume is the least useful document in a hiring process. Not because it's wrong, because it hides the only thing that actually matters. Let me show you what I mean. Two resumes, two stories. I was running a CRO search for a Series B company. After months of sourcing, we had two finalists. On paper, nearly identical. Both had been VPs of sales at strong SaaS companies. Both had scaled revenue from 10 million to over 50 million. Both had managed teams of 30 plus. Both had great references. The CEO was stuck. They're both excellent. How do I choose? I said, let me read you their career stories, not their resumes, their stories. Candidate A started at Oracle, moved to Salesforce, then to a well-funded Series C as VP of Sales, then to another Series C with a bigger title. Every move was lateral or upward within the same type of company. Bigger title, bigger team, bigger comp. Every transition was a step up the same ladder. Candidate B started at a startup that failed, joined another startup at Series A, helped scale it to Series B, then left to join an earlier stage company. A step down in title, smaller team, less money, built the sales org from scratch, scaled it, then did it again at another company even earlier. I asked the CEO, what do you see? He thought about it. Candidate A optimized for prestige. Candidate B optimized for the problem. Exactly. Candidate A had never built something from nothing. They'd only scaled things that were already working. Candidate B had repeatedly chosen harder problems over bigger titles. Every career move was toward more risk, not less. We hired candidate B. She built the entire commercial motion from zero. Revenue tripled in 14 months. Candidate A took a role at a Series D company. Bigger team, bigger title, same ladder. A resume is a list of what someone did. A career story is a map of what someone chose. And the choices reveal the person the resume hides. Now let me give you a shortcut that changed how I evaluate every executive. I can predict whether someone will succeed at your company by looking at one specific part of their resume, not their most recent role, their third one. Here's why. The first job is circumstance. You take what's available. Geography, timing, who's hiring, it's mostly noise. The second job is reaction. You leave because of what you don't want. Bad manager, wrong industry, limited growth. The second job is about moving away from something. But the third job, that's where the signal lives. By the third job, someone has enough experience to know what they're good at, what they care about, and what kind of problems they want to solve. The third job is the first one chosen by design. I worked with a candidate once who had an impressive resume. First job at McKinsey, common starting point. Second job at a large tech company. Natural exit from consulting. But his third job was at a 12-person startup in a niche nobody had heard of. He took a 60% pay cut. His friends thought he was crazy. I asked him why. He said, I'd spent 6 years solving other people's problems in other people's systems. I wanted to build something from scratch. Even if it was small, even if it failed, that answer told me everything. This was a builder masquerading as a consultant. The third job revealed what the first two obscured. He's now a CEO of a company worth 400 million. The first job is circumstance. The second is reaction. The third is identity. And identity predicts behavior more reliably than any credential, reference, or interview performance. Now let me tell you the story that every Series B board needs to hear. He spent 11 years at Google. The board loved him. He nearly destroyed the company. A founder was hiring a VP of engineering. The board had one request: get us someone from Google or Meta. We need credibility with investors. They found someone, 11 years at Google, led a team of 200 engineers, shipped products used by millions. The board was thrilled. The founder was relieved. Everyone exhaled. 6 months later, nobody was exhaling. The new VP introduced Google-scale processes into a 40-person engineering team. Code review cycles that took 3 days, planning processes requiring 47 slide decks, an architectural review board that met monthly. At Google, with 30,000 engineers, this makes sense. At a startup with 40 engineers, it means your best features sit in a queue for 4 weeks. Engineering velocity dropped 40%. 2 senior engineers quit. The third one came to the founder and said, "I didn't join a startup to work at Google." The founder called me. What happened? His resume was perfect. I said, his resume was perfect for Google. You don't have Google's problems. Then I asked the question that should have been asked before. In those 11 years at Google, what did he build from scratch? Long pause. I don't think he built anything from scratch. He managed existing teams and existing products. There it is. They hired someone to build an engineering org from the ground up, and his entire career was spent managing things other people had already built. The logo told you he was smart. It didn't tell you he could do this job. Here's the psychology. It's called the halo effect. When we see one positive attribute, Google on the resume, we unconsciously assume positive attributes across every other dimension: leadership, judgment, cultural fit, startup readiness. The halo effect disabled the entire evaluation process. A prestigious resume isn't evidence. It's a hypothesis that most interviewers forget to test. So how do you read a career like a story? Let me give you the framework. For every candidate at every career transition, ask these 5 questions. Question 1. Why did you leave? Not the polished version, the real version. Were you moving towards something or away from something? Question 2. What did you give up? Every career move involves a sacrifice. What did they leave behind? What they left behind tells you what they value. Question 3. Who did you become? How did this role change you as a leader? If they can't articulate growth, they didn't grow. Question 4. What would you do differently? Self-awareness is the single best predictor of executive success. The ones who say nothing are the ones who haven't learned. Question 5. Why this? Why now? At this specific moment in your career, why are you considering a change? The answer reveals whether they're running toward your opportunity or away from their current one. And here's the master question, the one that reveals everything. Walk me through every career transition you've made and why. Don't let them cherry pick. Every transition in order. The pattern across all the transitions is infinitely more valuable than any single answer. Here's what I want you to understand. Ignore what candidates say they want next. Read what they've chosen repeatedly. The career story a candidate tells you is who they aspire to be. The career data shows you who they actually are. Read both. Trust the data. The pattern is the person. And once you learn to see the pattern, you'll never read a resume the same way again. Here's your action for this week. Take your next candidate's resume. Don't start at the top. Start at the 3rd job. Ask, why did they make that move? What did they give up? What does the pattern of their transitions tell you about who they actually are? Then ask yourself, does this pattern match the chapter my company is in right now? If yes, go deeper. If no, move on. No matter how impressive the logo, context fit beats credential fit every single time. The companies that hire best don't match resumes. They read career stories and select for the pattern that fits their chapter. If this was helpful, subscribe. I'm open sourcing the playbook I've used to place 400 plus executives at companies backed by the world's top venture capital investors. I'll see you in the next video.